Hi everyone, and welcome back to Mission 1820 and this week's episode of Have You Ever Wondered? This is a weekly series where we answer a common biblical question in just 5 minutes or less. So, without further ado, let's get to this week's question. Have you ever wondered what signs indicate that the end times are near? Well, in Matthew chapter 24, verses 5 through 8, Jesus gives us some clues as for discerning the nearing of the end times. He says, "For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." In Jesus' message, he highlights a few things that we should be aware of that points to the end of the age. First, there's going to be an increase in false teaching of the gospel. Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 24, verse 11, that many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. Now, false prophets are those who share the gospel with the intent to deceive others from following the true gospel and lead people away from Jesus. In 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1, Paul talks about the great apostasy when he tells us, "Now the Spirit expressly says that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons." The last days are also described in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 as perilous times because of the increasingly evil character of man and people who actively oppose the truth of the gospel. Now, the second sign that Jesus gives us is the exponential growth in wars, earthquakes, and famines. Jesus tells us again in Matthew chapter 24, verses 7 through 8, "For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." This means that the frequency of wars, earthquakes, and famines the world is experiencing, well, that's been increasing over the years. Now, according to Wikipedia, during the past 5 centuries, wars have increased over 850%, famines over 633%, and earthquakes with magnitude 7 or greater have increased over 95%. So the dramatic increases in wars, earthquakes, and famines from the time of Jesus until today is clearly one of the clearest signs that we are near the end. But understand that these are just the beginning, as the Bible tells us. Now, the third and most prominent sign of the end times is the nation of Israel itself. In 1948, Israel was recognized as a sovereign state, essentially for the first time since AD 70. Now, in Genesis chapter 7, verse 8, God promises Abraham that his posterity would have Canaan as an everlasting possession. Ezekiel in chapter 37 prophesied a physical and spiritual reviving of Israel, putting them at the center stage of the end times. Therefore, having Israel as a nation in its own land is important in the light of the end times prophecy because of Israel's place in eschatology. And with that current war that was erupted between Israel and Hamas, this could be considered a valid sign that we are nearing the end times. Matthew chapter 24, verse 33 tells us, "In the same way, when you see all these things, you can know his return is near, right at the door." The signs of the end times, well, they shouldn't cause us to panic or fear them, but rather cause us to begin preparing for Jesus' return. So now you know what signs indicate that the end times are nearing. So God bless, and thanks for watching.